Oh yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. This is Jubilee Circle in Columbia, South Carolina. I am Candace Shalou, the spiritual director here. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there, and we are continuing. What is the, now I can't remember the pithy thing I say, is that either you are a mother, you have a mother, or you've been called one at some point in your life. So, happy Mother's Day, no matter what your situation may be out there. We are continuing our Via Transformativa, and our theme is Go with the Flow, and we're exploring how we can allow life to unfold naturally and move us along the stream of this divine river of love that we are all in. Now, the greeting card companies want you to believe that Mother's Day began in 1908 when a woman named Anna Jarvis wanted to honor her mother on a special day. But journalist Heather Cox Richardson points out the day really started in the 1870s as a reaction to the mass deaths incurred during the Civil and Franco-Prussian Wars. Now, the greeting card companies couldn't really go with that, but Julia Ward Howe, the woman who penned the Battle Hymn of the Republic, was so distressed by the uselessness of war that she asked, "Why do not the mothers of mankind interfere with these matters to prevent the waste of that human life which they alone know and bear the cost?" She wrote a treatise called An Appeal to Womanhood around the world, calling for a Mother's Day festival to advocate for peace and a world where, she wrote, women of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. How, like all mothers, attempted to make a new way in this world, to lead us from our old egoic warring ways into a way of peace. She, like many of us, however, lost that way. She gave up on her project after she realized it was a little bit ahead of its time. Her vision remains, though, of a peaceful world where men and even women are not taught to see war as valorous or courageous, but instead to embrace the true courage that it takes to create a peaceful and united world. Jubilants, we are still trying to find our way, and in this time of pandemic, we feel a keen sense of going backward, of losing the ground that we thought we had once gained. And just like Howe, we envision a better future, but we feel daunted by the obstacles before us. But here's the good news this morning. As we overcome our warlike nature within ourselves, the world around us, outside of us, changes as well. We have a momentous moment before us where we can choose the future that we want to create. So let us choose, Jubilants, let us choose the future where the whole world gets to say, "Oh yeah." Rise as you're able, or stretch out further on your bed or sofa, wherever you are joining us from this morning, as we call our four directions. First, we remember all of the sacred directions, sacred elements, the earth and the wind and the fire and the water, and we call the directions and orient ourselves in this sacred space and time.
Let us turn and face the east. Holy One, help us to take the example of each dawning of each new day, the peaceful stillness of the sun rising over the horizon. Give us that peace, Holy One, the peace to rise each day in stillness, the peace to rise each day ready to spread your light and warmth into the world. Quarter turn to the right and we face the south. Holy One, help us to live like the warm south winds, blowing gently across the world, bringing warmth to thaw the frozen hearts and minds around us. Give us the peace we need, Holy One, to refresh a tired and needy world. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. Holy One, as the sun sets on this day, give us the peace of the sinking sun. With the day near its end, let us reflect on the day's events. Give us the peace we need to let go of situations that may have frustrated or disturbed us this day. Let us sink into the west, Holy One, where we can rest peacefully in your loving embrace. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the north. Holy One, grant us the peace of the north. Grant us the quiet, the stillness we need to feel your guidance in our lives. When our lives are in turmoil, we have no peace, and we cannot hear your still, small voice calling to us. Speak peace to us from the north, Holy One, so that we may speak peace to the world. Turn back toward the center. We often seek peace everywhere but within our own souls, Jubilants. I invite you to realize today that it's your ego that keeps you looking outside yourself when everything you need is already within you. I invite you this morning to go within and discover the eternal, holy source of your soul that provides the abundance, the love, the joy, and the peace you need in every moment. I invite you to breathe deeply and say, "Oh yeah."
Oh, yeah. All right. Remain standing, stretched out, however you wish to be, as we do our opening song this morning. On our website and also on the Facebook is a link to a bulletin. If you want to follow along, you'll have all of the lyrics and all the readings and everything we will be doing this morning if you want to follow along. And my testing 1, 2, okay. All right, capos. We're going to do we want to thank Peter Mayer one more time and every other time for allowing us to use his music with his permission. So this morning is a song by Peter called Fall. 2, 3, 4. What if the highest destination of any given human life it's not a place that you could reach if you had to climb? Wasn't up above like heaven, there's no need to fly at all. What if to reach the highest place you had to fall? Fall like a trumpet on your face, like a parachuter jumping from a plane. Fall like an astronaut from space or an acrobat from making a mistake. What if all the sages talking about realms out of reach memorize the pages of gravity? What if getting to the highest places like learning what you know, like going to where you are now, like coming home? Oh, like Adam falling down from the strange unearthly angels once he came. Oh, finding a way of trusting in the ground as if the highest and the lowest places they are the same. What if the highest destination wasn't up above at all? What if to reach the highest place you had to fall? You had to fall. You had to fall. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh yeah, we love Peter Mayer. Thank you, Peter. All right, so welcome everybody once again. Thank you so much for joining us this morning from wherever you are joining us, whether you are here in Columbia, South Carolina, or elsewhere upon this blue boat we call home. We welcome you and thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are a spiritual community offering inspiration, affirmation, healing, and service to live abundantly, love wastefully, and awaken to our true divine self. We are a progressive and inclusive community. We're affiliated with the Jubilee community up in Asheville, North Carolina. We're influenced by Hebrew and Christian scriptures, but we give that a little metaphysical twist by reading it through the lens of A Course in Miracles. We also ground ourselves in something called creation spirituality, which basically means that we are not beginning in that dark place of original sin where a lot of spiritual communities begin, but instead we take our starting place as that bright place of delight, that original blessing where God created this amazing infinite universe, this blue boat we ride around that universe upon, all the creatures upon it, and finally in that much debated and still controversial move, God created we amazing and beautiful and creative and generous and contagious and and frustrating and maddening and greedy and recalcitrant human beings. And God looked at all of that creation and didn't go, ooh, man, I had a bad day. No, God looked at all of that creation and said that is very, very good. And God continues to delight in all of creation and invites us to do so as well. Oh, yeah. All right, so a few announcements as we move forward this morning. Next Sunday, we will again meet here in the virtual world. We're going to keep all of our celebrations virtual through the month of May. We will reassess in June as things progress, and we will see where we are. But hopefully very soon, within the next month or so, I am hoping and praying that we can get more folks in here. We can clean up the place and socially distance ourselves properly, and hopefully keep everyone safe and come back together again as a physical community. That would be great. In the meantime, Carolyn Gregory is hosting noontime meditations on Tuesday and Thursday. Our Facebook page has details on that, how to join in on that Zoom call if you want some meditative time during the week. Wednesday nights about 7 o'clock, I usually do a preview on Facebook and YouTube about the next Sunday's sermon and music, and Michael's joined me for the last couple of ones, so we've done little mini concerts to give you a taste of the music that's coming up for that coming Sunday. And following the celebration today will be our Zoom talkback, and the link for that is on the Facebook page and also on our website. That would be it. That's the word, at jubileecircle.com. Shout outs, got at least one I remember. Rebecca Hilsman. Thank you. Rebecca Hilsman finished her graduate degree program. Yay!
Yay.
So
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Rebecca on that. What was else? There was something else I was supposed to.
A birthday.
Somebody.
Corinne had a birthday.
Corinne had a birthday. Yes,
Yay.
happy birthday, Corinne. Yes.
Birthday.
And so happy birthday to all the others out there that I'm not aware of that you're having a birthday today. But happy birthday, Corinne. Should we sing?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Corinne. And everybody else. Happy birthday to y'all. And many more. Okay. All right.
It's legal for us to sing that now.
Of course, yes, we can sing. Yeah, that we can sing that one. All right. Are there anything else I'm forgetting that I need to add? All right, good. So hear these wise and holy words from this wise and holy man.
I'm not sure I'm either, but I'll read this page.
Okay,
anyway.
yeah. Read those words, Mike.
Okay, so from the New Testament, the Jesus story, John chapter 14, verses 1 through 6 and 12 through 14. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, I would have told you that I go to If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, so that where I am, there you may be also. You know the way to the place where I'm going. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Very truly I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and, in fact, will do greater works than these, because I'm going to the Father. I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If in my name you ask me for anything, I will do it. From A Course in Miracles, Lesson 189. We learn the way today. It is as sure as love itself, to which it carries us. For its simplicity avoids the snares and foolish convolutions of the world's apparent reasoning, but serve to hide. Simply do this, be still, and lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is. All concepts you have learned about the world, all image you hold about yourself. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad, of every thought it judges worthy, and all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. Is it not he who knows the way to you? You need not know the way to God. Your part is simple, to allow all obstacles that you have interposed between the Son and God, the Father, to be quietly removed forever. God will do his part in joyfully and immediate response. Ask and receive. And from the Muslim mystic poet Rumi, as you start to walk out on the way appears. As you cease to be, true life begins. As you grow smaller, this world cannot contain you. You will be shown a being that has no you in it.
These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Let's stand and sing. Again, a good shout out to Peter May. 2, 3, 4. You can say that you stand apart, put a fence around your yard. You can build a tall rampart and guard it with a gun. You can dig yourself a moat, burn the bridge, burn the boat. Won't matter that much, you know, 'cause all the world is one. All the world is one. You can march in a big parade every Independence Day. You can raise up your own flag and sing your own anthem. It will ring out in the air with all the other anthems there, till the winds of the earth declare, all the world is one. All the world is one. Go and ask the Buddha when he's sitting under the tree. Go and ask Walt Whitman when he's looking out at the sea. Ask Alan Shepard when he's standing up on the moon, staring at that pearly blue. Ask an atom in the breath you take. Ask the water by the riverbank. Ask a strand of DNA, it's written in your blood. One life running in your veins, one life from one big bang. You can try and separate it, but all the world is one. All the world is one. Go and ask the Buddha when he's sitting under the tree. Ask Annie Dillard when she's up on Tinker Creek. Ask Alan Shepard when he's staring up on the moon, staring at that pearly blue. You can take an outbound train, try and make a getaway. You can ride off like John Wayne into the setting sun. But Earthlings don't leave town, they just go around and round till they figure out all the world is one. All the world is one. All the world is one. Oh yeah. Right, our song this morning is a song I wrote back in 2018. I had read a quote from Richard Rohr where he basically said that whatever we welcome into our hearts is what we will ultimately embody in the world. And it's a warning, of course, about what we let into our hearts and our minds, because we will recreate or miscreate that in the world, no matter what it is. And so the song is called What We Become. Ready? 2, 3, 4. Generosity knocked on my door, and I sent it away, fearing it would ask too much. Greed knocked and I let it in with its promise to keep me full. Love knocked on my door, and I sent it away, fearing it would consume me. Hate knocked and I let it in with its promise to wall off the world. We become what we see, what we welcomes us, what makes a home in our hearts, we embody in the world. There's a Neil Young song that we would be singing today if we had the performance rights for streaming. It's called The Way, and the lyrics are pretty simple. It's the way, we know the way, we've seen the way, we'll show the way to get you back home to the peace where you belong. And I think I can get away with maybe singing a few bars of that song. The lyrics are simple. They're gorgeous. They're reassuring, especially during this time of pandemic. Many of us feel as though we've lost the way, the path to that peace where we belong, that home that we crave when we feel like we're lost and can't be found. This crisis has been devastating for so many. In so many ways, many have lost so much. We've lost our way of living, our way of being, our way of thinking, our way of doing and gathering. We are shocked, we're disappointed, we're disoriented. We thought we had all of this stuff hammered out. We thought we had this way of life, our way of doing things and being in the world, and it's just been rudely snatched out from under us. In Jesus' story, our guy is trying to prepare his disciples for the inevitably violent ending of his earthly ministry. They were about to have their entire way of life snatched out from under them, and he told them, do not let your heart be troubled. In Greek, that word troubled, it means anxious or fearful or in dread of something. We, of course, in our modern times, we know nothing about this talk of anxiety and fear and dread, right? It's completely foreign to us, right? Well, Jesus goes on. Instead of being troubled, he said, what we should be doing, we should believe. Believe, a word that means trust. No matter what's coming up that makes you anxious or fearful or full of dread, he's saying, trust in the Holy. He's telling that to his disciples then and to us thousands of years later. And somehow, we are still not soothed by all of this. Let your hearts not be troubled. Believe. Okay. I think we're not soothed by that because we often skip a word in that familiar passage that is key. Jesus tells us not to let our heart be troubled. And what is our heart? You know, our ego likes to think that it is the center of our existence, that it controls the heart, because of course it can, in a blink of an eye, put our emotions on that roller coaster of anxiety and fear and dread. But Jesus isn't asking us to center on our ego or have our ego be trusting and not fearful. It's not the ego that needs to trust, because that's a fool's errand. The heart, it's the heart, the cardia in Greek. That is our soul, the divine center where the truth about ourselves resides, where our higher divine mind is always in charge, always whispering to us to trust that even amid the apparent chaos in this world, a way will be made, and one that is seemingly out of no way. We become, Jesus is saying, what we welcome, not into our ego, but into our heart. Jesus says he's preparing a place for us in God's realm. And as a Southern Baptist, that means something very specific. But this is not a promise of a literal mansion in heaven, just turn right off of that other street of gold down the road. No, that's not what he's talking about. This is this place that we can attain in any moment that God is preparing for us is that one seat of peace and love right in our heart if we are just a little bit willing to trust in that higher divine self and not let our heart be troubled. From this place within God's realm, this one seat of peace and love that exists within each of us, we can find the true way to live in this world, one that is free from anxiety and fear and dread. Our reading from A Course in Miracles offers some handy advice on finding our way in this jumbled and confusing world. Simply do this, it tells us. And whenever it says simply, we find it hard. Because the ego gets involved. But it says, simply do this. Be still and lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is. Get rid of all the ideas the ego has filled your head with of what you are and what God is. All concepts you have learned about this world, because that's what the ego taught you. All images you hold on to about yourself, because that's what you reinforce. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad, or every thought it judges worthy, and all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Forget this world, the Course says. And in the next line it says, forget this Course, because it's not your salvation either. And come with wholly empty hands unto your God. We don't have to know the way to God. We don't have to know how all of this unfolds. Instead, the Course instructs us to come with wholly empty hands. Anything that the ego wants you to cling to right now, the things of this world that give it a feeling of security, we're told to let it go. Relinquish any thoughts we have about controlling anything that is happening outside of ourselves. Instead, we are called to control only what we can, and that is the world within. Our thoughts, and whether or not we're willing to lay aside those that no longer serve us, those that fill us with fear and anxiety and dread. Jubilant's love is constantly knocking on the door. Will you welcome it? Breathe deeply. 2, 3, 4. Kindness knocked on my door, and I sent it away, fearing that it would drain me. Anger knocked and I let it in with its promise to protect me. Peace knocked on my door, and I sent it away, fearing it would dull my rage. War knocked and I let it in with its promise to vanquish my foes. We become what we receive, what we welcomes us. What makes a home in our hearts, we embody in the world. At this point, you might be a little confused, and I don't blame you one bit. Our reading from the Course on one hand, and our Jesus story on the other hand, seem to be contradictory, which is always fun, right? Well, the Course tells us that we don't need to know the way to get to God. Jesus is quite clear that he is the way. And not just that, he is the truth and the life. No one, he says, comes to God except through him. Well, that seems pretty clear, right? Well, in fact, many Christians have taken this passage clearly out of context to make a case for Christian exceptionalism, claiming that it is only through Jesus, that anyone gets to God. All those other religions, all those other ways of believing, just wrong. Breathe deeply. You need a deep breath after that. None of this is really as confusing as it seems. Simply put, if we look at the Greek construction of the sentences that Jesus allegedly utters in this passage, it's clear that the no one gets to God, blah, 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 the no one that Jesus is referring to, according to the context in Greek, are actually only those who are sitting with him at the moment. Jesus is telling the disciples that their only way to get to God is through him. He's not making a universal statement. He's merely reaffirming the disciples' belief in him already. He's saying, I've taught you my way to get to God, and since you're following it, keep it up. Even when I'm not physically around, the tools I have given you will get the job done even if I am gone. The proof for this comes with another passage in John where Jesus speaks of other sheep that he has in other pens who will also find their way to God in their own ways. This is not about exclusivity. It's an assurance that even though the way we've chosen in this moment may seem fraught with fear and anxiety and dread, Jesus is saying, don't abandon your path. Don't go looking for other ways of being and doing in the world. Stay faithful, even if your way is not clear right now, even if the outside world seems to be in chaos. As contradictory as it may seem, the Course really does say the same thing. We don't have to know the way. We don't have to have the specifics. Instead, we simply need willingness, belief, trust, the ability to be still, to clear our minds of the ego's incessant chattering that all is lost and we're doomed, and instead take that one seat of divinity that knows the way. The Course is saying the ego does not need to know the way. You don't have to convince your ego that this is right. If it did, and it thought, okay, fine, it would just pervert this whole thing and try to make money off of it anyway. And you know it's true. That's what the ego does. It's best to keep the ego in the dark on these matters and simply step back from its insistent voice that we do something and instead relax, be still. Let go of all of the ego's notions of what should and should not be happening right now. The Course assures us you do not need to know the way to God. Your part is simply to allow all obstacles that you have interposed between the Son and God the Father to be quietly removed forever. God will do God's part in joyful and immediate response. Ask, the Course says, ask and receive. Ask and receive. It is the same message that Jesus gave those disciples who were following his way. I will do whatever you ask in my name so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If in my name you ask me for anything, I will do it. And this is not some new AG, the secret kind of get rich quick by using Jesus' name kind of thing. No. Instead, when we ask, when we glorify or magnify or increase our awareness of God working and moving and doing through us in this world, that's when we find the way. We ask and we receive the ability to become an open channel for God's love. We ask, jubilants, to know the way, and the way is opened up within us and through us. We become the catalyst for change. We become the way of love and peace in the world. We become whatever it is we think is missing in this world. Jubilants, the old systems, the old ways of living and doing and being in this world were irretrievably broken. I say good riddance. We're being given the chance to make a new way, a way seemingly out of no way. What is required of us to close the door on the ego's insistence that we remake this selfish and unequal world, and we instead welcome the ways of love and joy and peace to enter through us and remake this world in the image of the divine? It's simple. We be still. We let go. And we allow the Holy to remake the world through us. Breathe deeply. Let's join together in that chorus. 2, 3, 4. We become what we see. What we welcomes us. What makes a home in our hearts, we embody in the world. One of the promises that Jesus made to these disciples in our reading this morning is that they would have the ability to do greater things than Jesus had been able to accomplish during his short bodily journey, which must have been sort of dumbfounding. I mean, greater things? Okay, Jesus, like greater than walking on water? Greater than healing the sick with a word or a touch? Greater than, I don't know, getting up out of a tomb after appearing dead for 3 days? Greater than all that? Really? Absolutely, Jesus says, because you know, the one thing that Jesus calls us to do that he was not able to accomplish in his lifetime was to bring that peaceable realm of God to earth, to stop miscreating hell through all of our collective egos and instead use our divine power to create heaven here on earth, a happy dream that will allow God to bridge the gap and end our separation and bring us all back into the unity that we have never truly left. This time, jubilants, this is our chance. This is the moment that is ripe for new beginnings, for new ways to live and move and have our being in the world. This is a moment of creation, a moment to make a way out of no way, a way of peace, a way of love, a way of joy, a way of equity, a way of equality, a way of justice, a way of unity. Pie in the sky? Well, of course, the ego wants us to think that, because then we'll just say, hey, that's a nice idea, never going to fly. Have you seen the people out there? They're not going to allow that. But here's the thing, jubilants. A new world is possible. The opportunity is there. A new way is opening up right now, and it is inviting us to step onto the path. As you start to walk on the way, that Muslim mystic poet Rumi says, the way appears. As you cease to be, true life begins. As you grow smaller, this world cannot contain you. You will be shown a being that has no you in it. And he's switching up his use of the word you here. So pay attention. Let's walk through this poem. As you start to walk the way, that is your capital Y you, your higher divine self. As you, your divine you, walks the way appears. As you, your small y ego self, ceases to be, because now you are living in your higher divine self, true life begins. As that small y you grows smaller, the world can no longer contain the capital Y, higher divine you. The ego world was never built to contain who we truly are. So when we embrace that one seat, that divine center where fear and anxiety and dread do not even exist, then we will see our true reality, a being that has no small y you, no ego at all within it. And that, jubilance, is the world we are called to create right now. This is the way we are called to walk. Even if the whole world refuses to follow us, we will do greater things than Jesus did, because this is our calling, our destiny, to build a world without separation, a world of complete, non-dualistic unity where fear and anxiety and dread find no home within us. Is this a pipe dream? Well, if so, it's a damn sight better than the nightmare that we have currently created right now. Can I get an oh yeah?
Oh, yeah.
So here's the choice this morning. When fear, anxiety, and dread knock on your door, will you welcome them and the false promises of security that they bring with them? Or, jubilance, will you instead fling open the door of your cardia, your heart, your soul, to the true security that only love, peace, joy, and compassion can bring? Jubilants, remember, what we welcome welcomes us, what makes a home in our heart, we will ultimately embody in this world. So choose wisely this morning, jubilants. Make a choice that makes the whole world able to say, oh yeah. 2, 3, 4. We become what we see. What we welcome welcomes us. What makes a home in our hearts, we embody in the world. What have we become by welcoming our fears? How have we suffered by not allowing our tears? Why do we succumb to the darkness outside? What if we welcome generosity to open greed's clenched fists? What if we welcome love to sweep our houses clean of hate? What if we welcome kindness to cool the heat of our anger? What if we welcomed peace to beat our swords into clouds? What would we become if our hearts were not so small? What would we become if we welcomed it all? Oh, yeah. All right. So I invite you this morning, wherever you are, to come into a time of meditation, a time of prayer, a time of silence. I've had my say this morning. I invite you to listen deeply to what Spirit has to say to you. such trust. Let go without knowing where we will land. To let go and bless our destiny. Whether it is to bloom now or provide for a fertile future, either way we give life. A bird cries in the distance, singing a song of hope. A beat could be our salvation, a wind could move us along. A rainstorm could wash us away to new places where we take root, and the world can recline in silence beneath our sprawling shade. Can we let go, not knowing what our future holds? Can we let go, not knowing whether we will blossom or grow? Whether we will blossom or grow. Oh yeah. All right. So we will adjourn now in just a few moments to our Zoom meeting, and so we invite you to join us for our talk back. It's a time for you to reflect on the message and how you felt about it, and I especially love it when you disagree, so please join us. Comments, complaints, concerns, all of those things are welcome on the Zoom, and so the link will be on the Facebook page and also on our webpage at jubileecircle.com. Every week I just want to thank people for their amazing support of this ministry. Y'all have been so very good to us here at Jubilee Circle by continuing to give your tithes and your offerings and make sure that we are able to remain in this building so that we can come back to this building when it is safe. So I just want to thank everyone for their support. And I want to thank the band again, Janice Mewborn over here on the banjo and vocals, Tricia Fopp on vocals and guitar, Michael Reisman on every other instrument on earth, Beth DeHart back there on the drums, and Keith Edwards, our bassist extraordinaire. And as we adjourn to Zoom, I would invite you to go to jubileecircle.com. There are a couple of ways to donate on our website there, and we thank you in advance for your belief and your trust that we are using your resources wisely so we can continue to be an effective ministry here in the world. And we know that giving is receiving, and once you give, it's all a big circulation. You're not lacking in any way once you give, because it's all flowing back to you if you remain that open channel. And so our affirmation is, God's love has always met and will always meet my needs. I give freely and receive joyfully, knowing giving and receiving are the same. And Jubilants, giving and receiving are the same, and we thank you so much for giving us your attention this morning, and we receive it gratefully and put that love and that joy and that peace back out into the world, because we are here for all of us. Are we going to sing that? Sure, why not? Why not, Michael says. We can sing that.
I went over here too soon. Got to put the cherry on.
That's right. So join us over on the Zoom call. Give us a couple of minutes, and hopefully Carolyn will get that open, and we will sing ourselves out of this space for today. Start us off. We are here. We are here for all of us. Some of us, for all of us, like that. We are here. We are here for all of us. And yes, we are. And we thank you so much for being out there for all of us. And we are here for all of you. Giving is receiving. And so be safe this week. Treat each other well. Love yourself. Love the world. And let the people say,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.